Is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Our Friday night signature. Um, Before we get to our man who's waiting in the green room, I think in Hollywood it's known as the green room. I wouldn't know, but this guy knows about the green room. Um, Too sweet to be sour, high flying, limousine riding, always diving, profiling and styling. My man, 50 grand, Mr. Jimmy Dimodica. What's happening, brother? What's up? How'd you like that one? I came up with some new ones tonight.
Yeah, you always come up with these creative intros. Looks really nice.
Did you like that one?
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, the chat likes to hear. I don't know what kind of music everybody likes. I know I like a wide range of music. So it kind of time frame, try to figuring out. A lot has to do with it, but I don't know. I personally
Well,
don't know exactly what you like music wise. I know a couple of things, but anyway, before we get started, and we got a lot to talk about tonight, I just want to talk to some of your friends and my friends and people that love to come here on Friday nights and spend time with us. On a night
alrighty.
when you
Okay.
got a lot of college baskets going on, and they're still here with us, and that's greatly appreciated.
Oh, yeah,
Maureen
the March Madness. Sure,
March
sure.
Madness, Kelly, Maureen Frick, Matty Boy, Timmy Irish, Kelly again. What's happening? Stevie, what's up, bud? Francis, how are you? Cinnamon Girl, always a pleasure. Mikey M, what's happening? Kelly, how you been? It's nice to see you. Hope all is well. Barbara, I hope you appreciate the introduction. My man, 50 grand. You know him better than anybody. Um, that's for sure. I think we're ready to go. Sally Boy is in the house. Sal, what's happening, my brother? Davey T, always a pleasure. And we should be ready to roll. Benny, I didn't know you're here. Benny Boy, what's happening? And we ready to rock and roll, I think. Oh, sorry, Terry, how are you? I'm glad I went all the way up top. Terry, how are you? It's a pleasure. Wyatt Earp, what's happening, my brother? And we're going to get right into this. I just want to, Stevie, thank you for coming in. I hope everything's working out well with the baskets, my brother. I haven't caught a game. Maybe tonight I'll catch one of the late tip offs. But without further ado, you guys didn't come to see me. You get enough of me. So let me just ask my friend here and brother, Mr. James Dimodica. How are you, my man?
Good, good. How's everybody? How's Kathleen? How's everybody?
Everybody is
Catherine, I'm
well.
saying.
That's
Catherine,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. She's doing
No, you
well.
can't make mistakes with girls' names.
No,
They get crazy.
well, yeah, yes, I know all about it. Actually, she actually always would tell people she hated when people called her Kathy. So I
Oh,
always
really?
I call my wife Kat, except sometimes I'll say Catherine. But she'll tell
Okay.
everybody my name is Catherine. So most people call her Catherine. There's only a few like my sons or Cat, my other boys or really close family. Everybody is Catherine pretty much. But
Right, right.
I have a special privilege. I call it Cat. So if you're watching, hon, I love you, babe. I'm sorry. I don't want to catch a beating when I get home. Um,
No, but well, I had matrimony. I took the plunge 3 times. So yeah, then I found out that marriage is like a tornado because in the beginning there's a lot of blowing and sucking, and when it's over, you lose your house. So I, lo- I
there we
lost.
go.
I lost three. Lost 3 houses.
Yeah. You're gonna. I don't want to get started because now this is gonna turn. We got a comedy hour
No,
going.
no, no, no.
No, I
That
won't. I
well,
won't do it
I'm just
because you know
joking.
me.
I'm
I got to
just
stay
joking.
on track. But I would
But,
like to add something in, just one, please. You left the door open for me. Um,
no, the fourth time is a charm because I'm with the girl now that I've always should have been with my whole life.
uh,
She's the greatest. I'm crazy
they
about
say,
it.
yeah, they say, I think I used to hear the joke about the second time. Well, if the second time is right, why even do it the first time? Meaning that you'll get it right on, whatever. I don't know what it meant. It's kind of stupid if you think about it. But I will say this. I hope everybody understands in the chat. Um, Italian people, especially my grandparents, which would be over 100 today, they spoke to each other in a very rough manner, at least in my family. That didn't mean they didn't love each other, but that's how they spoke to each other. They were always screaming and yelling at each other. So my grandmother was always little thing. My grandmother was a little. My grandfather was a big man. Big, size wise. And my grandmother would be screaming in his face, and he used to call her Whispering Smith and make fun. Like, look at this tiny little thing. Like, go ahead, Whispering Smith. That he used to do. Go ahead, go ahead. And then he used to say, he was a young kid, he used to say, Craig, guys, women in the chat, he didn't mean it literally. He said, you'll see someday. Women, wives, you can't live with them, and you can't live with them. I was waiting for like some like great
Okay.
knowledge. And then he would say, you can't live with them, and you can't shoot them. You're a little kid. I'm hearing
Well,
this shit as a little
no.
kid.
No, the magic word for that is make sure you put insurance on them. That's all.
Oh, there
Insurance
you
is
go.
that's the magic word. Yeah.
All right, let's get to it. So everybody's good. That's the main thing. Everybody in the chat is good. I'm glad everybody made it home safe. And I hope everybody can put up with a little patience with me tonight because I'm refusing to wear my glasses. I'm boycotting for a reason. It's because I feel that you don't get really, Jimmy, the opportunity to see how beautiful my eyes are when I'm on camera with you. And I really want you to get the full effect.
Well, well, you're not that pretty, Craig. So
I'm an ugly bastard,
I'm
man.
not doing a million years. So
No, let me put the glasses. Hold on. You know what? Let me get the glasses. All right. If you notice, Jim, we're going to get right into it. Here we go, Chad. I promise. We're going right now. Here we go. Um, if you notice, Jimmy, I put a different layout together tonight as we came in, a
right,
different entrance, like if we were wrestling. You know what I mean? I put a new introduction. I like to change it up. You know that.
right.
And you help me sometimes with certain things on that. But without knowing certain things about a restaurant that I put up in that thumbnail, I had no clue. I just did some research on this particular place. Not only was it known for great food and still is, it was known very small. It was known as like a very big uh, wise guy, mob, mafia, whatever word people want to use, guys in the life hangout. Uh,
Yes, yes,
so that brings
yeah.
me to my question: that is this the place? What I want to ask you is this: the first number one, it's called the Belmont Tavern, if I'm correct. So what I want to
Yes,
ask you is
that's
this:
correct. Yeah.
can you, for my viewers, um, can you enlighten them about the Belmont Tavern a little? Like, can you give us a little something on the Belmont? Because I know what I read in the page, and I normally don't do that. But something I wanted to make you feel at home today. So I wanted to show something in New Jersey.
The Belmont Tavern is where I was raised, so to speak. The way you hit upon that, because uh, all the years my dad was away,
Right.
all the guys in different crews would be there, and they'd be my mentors. They were the ones that taught me what to do, what not to do, how to say it. when you're in this situation, you do this. When you're in another situation, you do that. And it was a learning process. It took a long time. And you'll see, like in the Belmont, there's all songs that play in there. Like when you say about playing music, like Jimmy Roselli was a good Italian singer. He made Mala Femina a real big
My dad
staple
loved that
point.
song. My dad loved that
Right.
song.
But he also made a song that he sings in English called Little Pal. And it's some of the lyrics are Little Pal, if daddy goes away, promise you'll be good from day to day. Do as mother says and never sin. Be the man your daddy might have been. Your
Well,
daddy
wow.
didn't have an easy start. Oh, but it's like it's all about guys that have to go away. When you get locked up and go away, and should you be on a new daddy's knee, think about me now and then, my little pal. It's a powerful song, and those are the kind of songs you will always hear in the Belmont. That's how I was raised, and uh, when guys would take me home because I was young, I worked there from when I was 14, 15, and 16 years old. I worked there for 3 years in the kitchen with Stretch. There was a picture of Stretch that you showed that's hugging that young girl, which was his daughter-in-law. That was Annette, and she owns the place now because Stretch passed away, and it went to her mother Helen, and then Helen passed away, and now Annette runs the place. But there's so many things that I would learn there, and I would play cards, and that's where I learned to be intrigued. I said I want to be good with cards, so I got books on how to be real good in card magic and stuff. And then I would take lessons from the guys who wrote the books, and I would pay $50 an hour and sit side by side with them. And let's say during that card trick that let's say there's 13 steps or 13 different moves. Let's say move number 7 out of 13, that might take up the whole hour by itself because you have to get it just right. And it's a long I've been doing the cards for like 40 some odd years, close to 50 years. And let me tell you something. I played in many games. It was at Marty Tessetta. I worked with him at the Aspen Hotel. We were partners with a game every 3 nights a week. It was in a suite we had at the Aspen Hotel in Parsippany. I blew people out. They would bring me the players, and I would blow them out. But getting back to the Belmont, it was every Monday night. Every Monday night was the night where it was like shape up night. Every crew would be there. And you see at one table would be Lucchese guys, another table would be Gambino guys, then Genovese guys. But the Belmont was always a melting pot for each crew. But that's how it was. And there was times where you don't get a tab. It depends on who was there and who remembers you, and they'll say, tell your father I said hello, and then they'll give me money to put in my father's account because he was away. But it was a learning process, and I'll tell you, I got a hell of an education.
Education, yeah. And especially you were young. Anytime you could be around old timers, as especially when you're young,
Right,
and get those valuable lessons. Especially, you're going to be in the street. Your dad, pop is away. The juice man is away, and
right,
them to take you in like that. Two things I want the chat. I'm sure they'll understand. Two things it tells me: A, who your dad was. That it was very important for you to be taught the right way and be shown a certain kind of love. That's how much
right,
respect they had for your dad and his people. That's one. Two,
right,
it also says about, because that could all be going on, but if they don't see the potential in a nice way, they'll find something else for you to do, like a job. Like, you know what, we're going to set you up. You'll be a good laborer. You'll make good money. You know what I mean? Like something like that kind of thing. But they were grooming you because A, you had to have potential, as you know, and as
right,
well because of your dad. There was even more love. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong,
No,
please.
no, I'm listening because you're correct in everything you're
Thank
saying. Go ahead,
you.
continue.
No, and I'm just saying it really lets it should I want the chat to truly understand of not only will you be going down that path, were you fortunate enough to be schooled by old timers in the life on the do's and don'ts and certain things, and it speaks volumes to me knowing certain things of who Ducey was in the life at that
Oh,
time and to this day. The
he
man he
was
is.
so he was so respected. Like for example, when he was away from 1959 to 1968, he was away like 9 years. He came home, and his brother Sammy, who again he's passed away, but at the time he was taking bookmaking, he was taking sports action, and there was a guy whose brother was a big shot in the town. He was the boss before there was Cabert. There was Jimmy Higgins. They called him Jimmy, but it's Jimmy Palmieri. Jimmy was the boss. So his brother Greeny, they called him Greeny, like a greenhorn. That was just a
I know.
nickname.
Yeah.
He was taking action. He was taking action with my father's brother. And when my father came home, my father's brother told him, he says, this guy Greeny, he said he lost a lot of money, and he said to me he's not going to pay me because my father's brother was nothing like my dad. So my father, he's only home 2 days. He goes into Belmont. He goes into the Belmont, and where the little vestibule where the men's room is, it's like a wood paneling little alcove there. It's just set up like a wall, an L shape. And so he's talking to Greeny, and he says I'm home now. This my brother Sammy. He says, you owe him money. He says, you're gonna pay him. And so Greeny went. He went. He went like that. My father just cracked him, like bang, knocked him right through the wall. Now, Jimmy Palmieri was the boss then. Yeah, so he sends for my father, but nothing happened because of the respect they had for my father, because they know what a man he was. And his brother was given wrong. He says, what are you doing going there, taking action and then not paying? You're making bets and you're not paying. Another thing in the Belmont was a guy that was hanging out there all the time, and he found out that my father's friend was locked up. He was selling weed. The guy was selling. This is in the 70s when it was like taboo. When
That's,
weed was
that's
taboo.
considered junk back then.
Right,
It's dope
right,
back then. Yeah.
exactly. So the guy says, "Hey, Juice." He made a comment when my father was in there. He says, "Hey, Juice." He says, "Oh, pardon. So I still got this sinus infection."
That's all
He
right.
says,
Don't
"Hey,
worry.
Juice." He says, "Hey, Juice." He says, "Tell your friend when you see Nicky." He says, "Hey, ask him how the dope business is." My father rolled his eyeballs like this. Says, "Yeah." He went behind the bar, grabbed a half a gallon of JB Scotch, and just smashed it into the mirrors behind him, and all the mirrors kept cascading down. Three guys ran in. My father broke two other bottles in half like this, and he said, make a move, any one of you right now." He said, and they knew that it was
Yeah.
Juicy. They didn't do nothing. They
Yeah.
didn't
They
do nothing.
can't do nothing.
Right.
They,
So that's the history of the Belmont. And then one time, Jimmy Higgins, because he's dead now, I can say he shot Michael Laponza. He shot Michael Laponza in front of there, and he shot him by mistake because he was aiming for another guy. And he says, "Sorry, Mike." These are all things that used to happen in front of the Belmont and thereabouts. That's just how it was.
I,
So
I like. No.
go
Finish
ahead.
up. I want to ask you something about the
No, no,
Belmont
no, no.
before
I'm
we.
finishing up. I'm
Um.
just about done with the Belmont. What do you?
Yeah.
Why? Do you have
I
something
have
else?
something else I want to ask you because like my wife says, with my selective memory, we never really conversated about the Belmont. But I'm wondering if this is the place. I'm going to try to word this the right way. Um, well, I'm just going to say it. I'm not going. I'm going to fucking say it. Sorry. Here it is. Did you did you make your bones at the Belmont at 16 years old? Is this the place?
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Correct.
was the
It
place.
was what uh, when you say
Yeah,
made bones. Bones.
yeah,
It's a different. If it's a different way.
absolutely.
Naturally, I'm not going to say there was any shooting
Yeah, I didn't
involved.
mean it. I did not mean it that way. You know
No,
what?
but what happened was here I am, 16, and Jimmy Higgins had another brother, Nicky Palmieri, and Nicky would be a permanent fixture at the Belmont, and it's a Saturday afternoon. So the same guys would congregate. Jimmy Fucci, all these other guys would be there. Jimmy Fucci became, I'll tell you about him later on, but Nicky would be there. Nicky, who was Higgins' brother, Jimmy Palmieri's brother, who was the boss of the Gambinos at the time. And so Nicky is sitting up against his back up against the wall. That's the spot he had at the bar. And on the television was all the games, the afternoon games of college football. So I think it was Oklahoma or something like that was playing. And there was a guy there, and he's conversing with them. He's talking back and forth, and they're talking to him, but they're talking very lightly, like not so much. And I'm looking at the guy, I'm saying, who is this guy? I said, I never really saw him before. And he's smoking cigarettes because you could smoke then inside the bar at the time, and he would dye the cigarettes on the floor. And the guy says, he goes, yeah, Oklahoma's doing pretty good. They got somebody that made a All American. They got two more All Americans this year or something like that. And then they had, I think it was Stan Waldemore or Alan Wojak at the time played for them. They were from Essex Catholic High School in Newark, which was a real big high school that put a lot of stars out that they went to the pros. And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this guy. So he's talking to Nicky. He keeps talking to Nicky, but Nicky is not really talking back to him. And the guy says, yeah, Joe. He keeps on calling him Joe. He goes, yeah, Joe, what about that? What do you think about that All Americans, playing for Oklahoma? And then well, what do you say, Joe? So I'm saying to myself, why the hell does he keep calling Nicky Joe? His name isn't Joe. And so he's looking at Nicky. He goes, well, again, I'm going to ask you again, Joe. What do you think about this? So he's smoking a cigarette, and he goes, oh, you don't want nothing to say? So Nicky's just quiet. And so the guy's blowing smoke. He goes, oh, yeah? He goes, well, fuck you, Joe. He goes like that. So Nicky goes like this. He looks and he closes his eyes and goes, he rolls his head like this. Me, I know just what to do. I turned to him. I said, who are you talking to? Bang! I just knocked this guy out. He starts gagging on his own blood. He took 3 stools down with him, 3 bar stools with him. And so they grabbed him. So Jimmy, the owner of the place, who's there now, Jimmy Como, who owns the joint, who's the current owner, he was the bartender then. This is like 1974, 1975. He comes running out and he grabs the guy, Jimmy Fucci, who used to work for Jimmy Higgins, Jimmy Palmieri. He grabs me. He puts $40 in my hand. He says, Jim, he says, you better get out of here. He goes, this guy's going to call the law. He says, we'll take him in the shit house. He goes, and we'll try to doctor him up. We'll clean him up. But he's probably going to call the law. So get out of here. So I look at the $40. I'm 16 years old. I said, man, this is a good job. I said, I like this. I said, so every week I went there and there was always somebody else to bash that was late with payments or whatever, with Shylock money. And that's how I got my start, from the Belmont. So that's where the cherry was officially broken.
Broken. Yeah, absolutely. And I probably should have said it a different way, but I know Hollywood uses that, or the way they write things in the paper. I don't know where that, the whole making your bones meant that you had. No, it can mean many things.
Oh, it has many
Yes,
connotations, you know.
exactly. And I'm not going to get into all of them, as you know, but maybe I should have said it a little bit different. But
No. You
I
said it
knew
the right way because in a
he
way,
said that way.
it
But I mean,
officially
could
got
be
me
said that
started.
way.
Because
It is
here's
said that way.
why.
Right.
Because here's what. Hold on. Here's what happens. Because since after that was done, then I worked for Jimmy Fucci all the time, and I became real close with him, real tight with him. And I would go pick up all his number. He had guy. It looked like the team from Mission Impossible. I would go. I would go on my rounds, right? Because I just got my license, and I would go pick up all the betting slips from all the games. I would go there at exactly like 10 after 1, then 1:20, 1:40. Then there'd be a guy walking around the corner at 1:40 exactly. Then he would just drop it in my window of my car, all the slips. And so at that time, I would get paid $50 for the day. And that was a lot of money back then.
Absolutely.
So again, so I learned, and then I would go on excursions where I had to go beat up people and stuff. So, but I used to enjoy that because I was good in football. I was an all-state quarterback, and I
It
used to
helped.
lift weights.
Yeah.
So I was right in the groove of things. I definitely
Yeah.
had the apple. The apple doesn't fall too
Well,
far from the tree.
no, it's like, but you brought up the word football. I want to say something. Um, I have to deviate for 1 second because I want to give a. I always, we shout out everybody in the chat, but I want to pull. I know he don't want me to do this, but I just put his name up here, Frankie Predator. I know him many years. He knows me from when I'm a kid. His brother, um, meant the world to me as a kid. Coached me in
Okay.
football for many years. I love that man so much. He's one of the greatest coaches I ever played for because he cared for you as a person besides teaching you the game. I
Right.
loved playing for him. I played hard for him. I at least want to believe I did. And I love Frankie knows. Frankie, thank you. I love you, man.
Well,
All the love
coaches
to you.
have that allure. They have that
But
allure about them. They're
and they're from
there
the Bronx
in
originally.
the
Great.
building blocks of life. They're right there. They shape a young man's way of him growing up. It's there. They have a great allure about them. Coaches,
Yeah,
and you
I
still call them Mister. You still call them Mister.
absolutely, Mr.
Yeah.
Predator. Absolutely, and he used to tell us, even at because he had me from young, and then through my teenage years, and he saw the things changing. But anyway, he knew both sides. Oh, Frankie, thank you. I'll get that off. He said I was a good athlete. Thank you, Frankie. But your brother taught me a lot and a lot about more than football. Just good stuff, great stuff. I'll never forget it.
And
I just
just
wanted to give that to
just
him.
so you know, Craig, I still hold the record for the longest pass thrown in the air for a touchdown as a quarterback.
How
I
many
threw it
yards?
on the I threw it on the 33-yard line, and he caught it 7 yards deep in the end zone, but they only counted from the goal, which was 67 yards, but actually it was 74 yards. And I threw the ball in the air, and he caught it 7 yards deep. So when I was 16, my arm should have been painted gold. I think I might have told you the story, but I don't like to keep talking about it because people will think
No, no,
I'm, you
you're not that kind of guy. Frankie, that's right. We were that at one college point was a family. You're right. Now, I don't even want to talk about it, but I'll get on with it. I'm sorry to interrupt. I had to give this man what he, like everybody in here. I just wanted to say hello. I
oh,
don't,
sure,
and
sure.
it's really a tribute to you for him to, because Frankie doesn't is not a YouTube kind of guy. So for him to come in here, I know he likes to hear you talk because it reminds him of a lot of what he grew up with. you know,
Right.
understanding very well. Um, if Frankie doesn't mind, I believe there's no reason why I can't say this. Frankie is related to the late actor who I thought was, not because he's here, one of the greatest underrated actors and should have been in a lot more big time roles, and that's Danny Aiello.
Oh, sure. I
Danny
know Danny.
Aiello was one of the greatest actors, not because Frankie's here. Frank, that a fact. I thought Danny Aiello should have got. He should have been. He told the story. He didn't like De Niro. That's why you got to love him. Fuck De Niro. Fuck them all. Fuck Scorsese. Yeah, he was a tough guy. He was a real tough guy. He really was. He was. Yes, he could act. Moonstruck, he's acted, but he played it. He knew the life. He knew it.
Right.
Whatever. That's just. I don't want to get on a tangent about Danny Aiello, but it's a fact.
Oh, one before you hit me any more questions, I wanted to tell you something else about the Belmont. It was where my cousin Jamesy, we were there eating one night. My cousin Jamesy, he was real close with Buddy Musagrasso. Buddy Muss, they call him Muss, but his Musagrasso was his name. Buddy was also made around 60 years old, and he was from Silver Lake. And what happened was we were in the Belmont eating, and then his son Jamie noticed a guy in there. This guy that owed him money. He was a bookmaker, but he never paid him on a bet. But Jamesy is a bug. He's a bug. He's bad with his hands, and when he gets a couple of drinks, he's really hard to control. Because Jamesy, when Buddy Muss was on trial with Cabert, they were on a long trial for like 6 months trial. The prosecutor, Buddy Muss, went to the prosecutor's house with Jamesy, my cousin Jamesy, and they shotgunned his door down. This is how crazy they are when they start drinking. Anyway, they're in the Belmont. They see this bookmaker, so they call him outside. So I see my cousin Jamesy go outside with this guy, so I follow him. And Jamesy is with his son Jamie. So we're talking on the side of the building. So Jamie, the son, is saying, "Well, where's the money? Where's the 600 you owe me? You never paid me. You kept making all these excuses." So Jamesy is like saying, "Yeah." He says, "Where is it?" But now all of a sudden, Jamesy just goes off script, just bang. He just like a grenade went off in the guy's face, and he's hammering. I mean, and he keeps hitting him. So I'm trying to stop him because I know he's going to kill him. He's going to kill him. I know how Jamesy is. So I'm trying to pull him off. I said, "James, don't worry. The guy's going to pay you. The guy's just said it. He's going to go home and get the money. You won." He goes, he looks at me and he says, "Hey," he goes, "you're my cousin." He says, "Don't get involved or I'll start with you." And I said, "James, calm down." I said, "Remember where you are." I says, "I'm your cousin, but keep your head." Yeah, he goes, "All right, I'm sorry, but you look." Anyway, he goes and grabs the guy again. So the kid waited there. The guy came back. His shirt was all ripped off, and I'm talking about he broke his nose in several places. The guy was just full of blood. But my cousin Jamesy, everybody knows in Silver Lake. Even Tommy Stiggs knows what I'm talking about because Jamesy was a real bug. But that's my cousin. His mother and my father are first cousins. That's how Jamesy's related to me. But Jamesy was something special.
You've told many stories about Jamesy, so automatically, in my mind, as you would tell stories about Jamesy, I knew he was a serious guy by the way you would talk. Certain things you would say. I would expect him to have been a very serious kind of guy.
Oh
Capable,
yeah, oh
very
yeah.
capable kind of guy.
Oh yeah. Well, like Buddy Muss had a brother Sonny. They're both passed away now, but they had an underground, you know, an arsenal that they used to keep machine guns in case of war. They were ready to go. I mean, these guys were ready to go. Like you see, people don't realize in Silver Lake, you only had about 9 guys strong, but they were like an army of 100 or more. I'm telling you, Craig.
Yeah, they were deep.
These
Yeah,
guys,
yeah, they were deep.
these
Yeah.
guys were serious guys, serious gunmen, serious guys, hitmen. I'm telling you, in Silver Lake, it was very unique part of town. I'm just telling you.
All right, I just
Any,
want to.
anything else, my brother?
Yeah, I got one more for you because I know the hunk of pains. I'm going to hear it. Send me the bill. I know. I'm going to get the bill for overtime, like the stagehands. You're worse than the stagehands, but I understand it. I know where you came from, so I get it. There's a bill at the end of the day.
Cabert's son works in that stagehand union. He's been there for like 20 years, 20, 30 years. He does
Really?
real good. Yeah, Cabert got him in because the Westies are the ones that control that. They're the ones that put you in there.
I have a dear friend of mine, a childhood friend, that runs Radio City, and he's good. He's
Okay.
good. Childhood friend since kindergarten.
Well,
Frankie, I just
you're not. I notice you're not saying that I'm wrong.
absolutely not. And I'm trying to tell you something, but I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Frankie, you should be turning. Your name should be blue in the chat. You have a wrench now, which means anytime you come in the chat, your name should look like everybody else's. And if anybody comes in here that we miss that acts like a retard or is being disrespectful to anybody in the chat, those little dots, just throw them out. You have the ability to throw everybody out. We're all the same in here. We're all family and friends and a community group, and we're not going to have drama in here. Jimmy, before I let you go to your tripe, I don't know,
Yes.
or Gappatel, maybe you're going to have Gappatel again. I'm not
No.
sure
No.
what you
No.
mean. No?
No. Not that. No.
My
No.
grandmother
No
used to say,
problem. No.
my grandmother used to say, you say it wrong. It's udrip. I don't know. Maybe it's
Yeah.
udrip.
Udrip,
Um,
yeah, but that's terrible. I could never eat that
oh,
stuff.
and it smelled when you're cooking it. Oh my God,
I
horrible!
know. Well, you
I
got
just
them
can't.
lamb head with little rotten teeth in there too. Please.
All right, listen. I got one more for you. You know, I might sneak in a little extra, but I got to know this. I have to. The chat has to know. We've
Okay.
talked tonight. Tonight's really been, and it was totally by fluke. But that should say something about you too, because you had no clue, zero. You never really do, or what the thumbnail's going to be. You don't know. We never
Right.
really talked about that shit. You didn't know I was going to put up that restaurant. It's only because I read something about it. I know nothing about Jersey outside of a few things, not much. That's the truth. Um,
Right.
I had to get over to GW. I had to do a few things, but that's about it. Um, go to a Giant game every now and then. Um, there's something else about the Belmont I want to ask you. Who? Because you named. There's a lot of, according to what I read, according to what you confirmed. You confirmed it. I needed to hear from you. Who actually, out of all, whether it was your father's guys or somebody else took a liking to you, who's the first guy that really? Because I remember for me, and again, different levels, but same fraternity. Who took you under their wing? Was there a one special person that really put you onto them and really took
Well,
care?
at the time, again, he was Gambino because he was under Jimmy Palmieri, who was nicknamed Jimmy Higgins, who was the boss of the Jersey faction at the time. And then when he stepped down, it was Cabert. When Cabert went away, then it was my father. So, but it was the guy who was right under Jimmy Palmieri was Jimmy Fucci, Fucci, and he was really sharp because he taught me all the stuff I needed to know. In other words, he was the first one to make sure that I was taken care of. Again, the first time when I cracked somebody in there, he's the one that put the money in my hand. He's the one that always says, if you got a date tonight, you can use my car. Go here, over there. Go see this other guy. He said there'll be an envelope waiting for you, but all I want you to do is just talk to him nice. He goes, he says, not the word nice. He says, I want you to go see the guy. He says, and convince him he should do this or that or whatever. And I says, well, how much do you want? How much convincing do you want, Jim? He says, well, you know what to say. So those were words without him even giving me orders. Those were ways of he was telling me how to talk in code, how to go to work on somebody, how to do it right. My first pair of brass knuckles was from him. So like this is sentimental. It's sentimental, you know. And Jimmy at the time, when let me tell you something, when the cocaine hit, see, Jimmy wasn't made. He wasn't a made guy, so he could deal in babanya. We say babanya, junk.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy that set everything up. So I had to go with him on 3 different trips down into Miami, and then he wound up moving down there, but he stayed there because my father really didn't want me to be involved in that stuff. He says, but Jimmy will still take care of you if you want to do things that are like not related directly to that, but let's just say picking up money or something like that, but not so much the junk. But he wound up, before he died, because he was chubby, he was kind of overweight. He died of a massive heart attack. Before he did, he had a palace down in Miami and had maids 24/7 and waiters and Rolls Royce. I mean, he finally really hit it big. But that's in the early '80s when the cocaine was real big and everything. But that's, again, before he died. That was his ticket to finally making it. And I used to count cards in blackjack. So he used to give me money to go down to Atlantic City because, again, out of all the 37 books that are on the market, there's only one that's correct, which is Playing Blackjack as a Business by Lawrence Revere. And it's by Lyle Stewart Publishing. That's the correct book. And I knew how to do it. And so remember the night when I won the $386,000, and back then it was the golden nugget when it was the casino all the way to then it became Bally's Grand.
Absolutely.
It was Halloween night, 1983. I think I told the story before, but I don't want to bore
you never
my
nobody, my friend.
But what I'm saying is that, but everybody it'll ring a bell to them. That's what I want. So I stayed there for 2 weeks with the comps. And they said, well, you can no longer play blackjack. If you play blackjack, you'll be arrested as a disorderly person. So you see, you could play any other game the casino has to offer except the game of blackjack. He goes, pick up your money. They wire $200,000 to my account with my ABA number and my bank account number. So I stayed there, and I wind up going to roulette, but only betting black and red. I would wait till 3 colors in a row would come out, like 3 reds. Then I would bet black or whatever. I won another 66,000. Oh, I just smashed them. Forget it. But that's for another time, another place. Because my belly is growling for something to eat tonight. So
I'm going to let you go. I promise. I'm letting you go right now. Can you just answer one question somebody has for you?
Yes.
You know what? Before I ask you this question, I'm just going to say this, and you could tell me if the same thing was happening. Well, being that everything came from New York, but I want to know if the attitude was the same. And here's what I mean. A guy was a huge earner in the powder business, right?
Right.
Okay. But he had every makings he could have been straightened out 100 times, but just because he was such a huge earner in the powder, they wouldn't make him, and he didn't want to be made because then those rules didn't apply to him because he still had whoever they thought of him as a very special guy anyway because he was the rules didn't apply to him, so they didn't want to straighten him out on purpose.
Well, see
Because they don't play dumb to it.
see that reminds me of just one quick story. When there was a guy named Joey Yip. They called him Joey Yip, Joey Ippolito. He was the master of smuggling weed. I mean, he would get tens of thousands of pounds. Guys would work for him just weighing. They would get $3 a pound just to weigh it and put it in a bag. This is how much he had. He would get a warehouse. They would have to work for him for 2 weeks, just getting $3 a pound. At the end of that, they would make 30, 40,000 for the 2 weeks or whatever. But guess how they started out? It was the Juice Man. The Juice Man went to see these hippies out in Arizona, and they went there. And my father goes there with his other friend, Nicky, and they go see the guys. And what happens is they were like hippie, these young kids. And my father, at the last minute, he pulls the pistol out because the girl is counting the money, and she made the money because he went there with all counterfeit hundreds. This is the nerve my father had. This is like 1973. She goes, "What's this?" He goes, "Yeah, what's this?" And bang, the gun goes to the head. They tied the people up, and so they yelled to the other guy, says, "Let that car go." They had a car hooked up with a U-Haul, on the trunk, on the trailer hitch of the car. They filled it up. I think it was, I don't know how many pounds. It might have been like 2,000 or whatever, but they were already borrowing money on it before it hit back, before they came back to the neighborhood where the Belmont was, in that neighborhood, Silver Lake. But he's the one that started Joey Yip on that. And Joey, let me tell you something. They're funny guys, because my father went away in Atlanta for 6 years. He did 6 years from 1974 to 1980. Not one of them came around. My mother wound up losing the house and everything. Not one of them came around and made sure that she had her bills taken care of. So when he came home, I went with him, and we took care of business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Time to
we took care of business.
Yeah. Got one question from the chat, and then I want you to enjoy your dinner. Jimmy,
What's
did
that?
you know Lenny Restiano? Restiano. Restiano.
Lenny
Restano.
Restano. Yes,
Restano.
yes,
Did you know him?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Is there anything you could share about Lenny?
I used to deal with him. I used to deal cards with him in the blackjack in P.D. White's place. P.D. White Campese. He's dead now. That's why I can say it. We used to deal cards. He was a dealer. I was the dealer at the next pay. We were both making sure everybody lost. He was a mechanic like me.
Well, I am glad, Terry, Jimmy was able to answer your question, and he actually, not everybody knows everybody in the life, and you could be from the same neighborhood. In this case, he knew a little bit more than just that. Jimmy, I want to thank you for sharing your tremendous knowledge of. You must have read a lot about this stuff. You must have watched a lot of. No, you watched a lot of movies.
No, I lived it. I lived it.
Oh, wow! You want to speak on that before you go, or you made your point already?
No, I make my point every week. I lived it. I didn't watch movies. I lived it.
My man, I love you, brother.
So I'm sure did that person type that I was correct? That's the same Lenny, correct?
Terry hasn't gotten back, but I'm sure it is, because you knew the name. What I was trying to say, I couldn't really see it, but I was trying to pronounce it. How do you pronounce it again?
Restano.
Okay. Nice. And everybody was from the same area, pretty much, Jimmy? Belleville? Or a different part?
Yeah, they're from that area primarily. Yeah.
Got you. All right, my man. I just want to tell you, always, I love you. I love the fact I can ask you just about anything. And you're always there for the chat and give them knowledge of what this life was like. I learned from you, things that maybe I didn't see or was around. Um, and it's just, anybody young is not supposed to be watching this. But if you are sneaking behind your parents' back and watching, do not stay in school. Stay in school.
Right.
Right,
Stay in
Jim?
school. Don't get this education.
No, bad education. Yes, Terry said that is the person. Thank you very much, Jim.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now you go and have a
Yeah,
nice.
'cause Lenny had a problem with his daughter. He wound up her boyfriend was giving trouble. I think he wound up shooting his daughter's boyfriend, but he didn't die or nothing. But he wound up doing it. He
He
wound up
shot him,
shooting the
though.
kid.
He got his message.
Yeah,
He got the message across. I mean,
yeah.
you mess with somebody's daughter. What do you? I mean, what's supposed to happen?
No, Lenny was
Lenny's the
he was
man. I don't know
all
Lenny, but he
about
sounds.
family. He was all about family. No, we were close. Like I said, we dealt cards in PD White's club, PD White Campese's. They were with us, but they were like a family within a family because there were so many of them that were related, and they were all into crime. They were all into crime, so they were again like a family within a family. They were
Unbelievable.
something
Yeah, amazing. Well, oh,
because they wrote a book. They wrote a book about them. By Ira
thank
Pestic
you,
wrote a
Dave.
book with them called "To Drop a Dime," and they mentioned my father in the book. I think it's page 300 something. They mentioned my father in the book too. This
I
was
get
in the 70s.
Jimmy, you got to go. I want you to go. I just want you to know before you go, so many people will send comments wanting to know how the juice man is. And when I tell them he's, from what, I ask you often, you say he's hanging tough. He's doing his thing. He's doing great.
Yes,
They
yeah.
always want to wish Juice well. Always. And
Oh,
I have to
thank
always
you.
make that clear to you. They really ask for Pops a lot. And one thing people have asked, like in shock, is it true that he really did a total of 40 something years in prison? I say it,
Every,
yeah. What did he do?
every day. When he was in the army, he went AWOL in the army. So he did like 2 or 3 years for that. He came home and then he did 9 years, 1958 to 1968, but it was actually 9 years. Came home for 5 years, did 6 years in Atlanta, federal prison in Atlanta, Georgia. Came home for 2 years, went away again another 8 years in Leesburg prison where he was with Joey Merlino. They were cellmates. Well, not cellmates, but they were together a lot in there. Then he was home for about 6 years. Then he did 17 years, and the last 7 of those years were spent with me in the same cell. We were locked up together.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
And, you know how I feel. Give him our best. We all love him. Even, everybody in the chat always wishes to tell you, wish your dad well and all of that. So, on that note, thank you for everything tonight. You know I love you. And
Well, you
stay
know I
on
love
top.
you, Craig.
Thank you, pal. And stay on top of me. Make sure I do the right thing. A lot of creepy people in this world right now. It's just crazy times.
Just write their name and their address, and I'll take care of it.
Please do. I can't move no more. I love you, bud. I love you.
Love you. I love you more, Craig.
Crazy.
Tell
I love you,
tell
man.
Catherine I said good night also.
I will. I will. I will.
And
Chad, if you want to
tell
stick
her,
around. Jimmy, I love you, man. We'll talk tomorrow or the next day, whatever. You know that.
all right. All
All
right.
right.
And tell
Be well.
Antonio too.
You got it. Thank you.
All
Love you,
right. Bye
brother.
bye.
Chat crew, what's happening? How we doing? I hope everybody enjoyed. Uh, Jimmy, we usually, it's always, you never know. That's what makes Jimmy special. I mean, not, special, yeah, because he's going to say what he has to say. More importantly, whatever he has to say is fact. In what I see, not I'm still learning this whole YouTube thing. And besides all the stupid drama, because nobody's fighting nobody. Nobody's, I mean, yeah, you hear about, who gets, it's just crazy shit. But you see, things could get, depending on who you threaten, like, you know, um, you never know. You just don't know. People have children that care about their fathers or their moms that might have a show. And you don't know, that maybe their sons are fucking lunatics. You know, maybe their father's still a lunatic. Um, and I'm not talking about myself. It could be anybody, and all of this drama that's out there, let it stay out there because it ain't coming in here. It's not. What I mean by that is, yeah, we can't tell somebody might come in, sneak in, say something stupid, but they're gonna go. They're gonna go, and then they'll go make a fake name. And if they decide to come back, that's on them. You want to waste your time and do that? Go right ahead. But guess what? Whatever I've had to say about my past life, fact. Whatever Jimmy talks about in his past life, fact. Whatever we talk about on this show, in any subject, are facts spoken by people that know their facts of what they're talking about. It's that simple. So I honestly don't watch too much of the YouTube stuff as far as I'll watch football stuff, MMA stuff, boxing stuff. I'll watch some cooking stuff with my wife or uh, like that. I don't watch um, the other. I don't even want to be considered in the mob genre thing, but because of we do speak that 2 nights a week, that's where we're at. But we're well rounded. We do other things here. We don't just do that because there's more to Jimmy's life and my life than just that. Um, and if people don't like that, um, I'm sorry that. No, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry for whoever is out there that doesn't like these things. That I did a million different things in my life. I had to feed a family, so maybe I was fortunate enough to get these kind of jobs. But I can tell you one thing: I earned them. I earned them. In anything I did in life, I earned every job I ever got, and I earned whatever I got in the street too. And Jimmy's story speaks for itself. Um, but that's it. We're just not going to have the bullshit here. I always feel a need to touch on it because I hear about all of this craziness. I know somebody I respect. I was just in here. He's having some issues right now, and it just just worry. Everybody stay in your own lane. What do you? I don't know why people feel the need to just go screw with another channel and start shit. For what? For what? For what reason? What? It just doesn't make any kind of sense. Now, you know, I can see bullshit from a mile away. I'm sure maybe some people can. If anybody wants a link and come up, if you guys know, you come up. Anybody wants a link, tell me, put it, drop it, I drop it. You come up and hang with me for a minute. But you can see bullshit from a mile away. I know there are people telling people, whispering it, whispering. There's a difference. They're not calling me saying it. I'm full of shit. I'm this, I'm that, whatever. Do your homework. Like I said before, I'd have to be the biggest jerk off in the world to come on here, show my face, tell shit, talk about anything. I don't care if I talked about I worked in Pathmark and sold steaks, and that's a lie. right? Because I never worked in the Pathmark and sold a steak in my life. So if I said that, that would also be embarrassing to my adult children that would have to hear. So you see, people that know, and it's not just wise guy stuff. It's anything. An old football coach was in here tonight. There's people a lot of us, there's a good amount of us that know each other. Maybe, there's some, I don't really care. I don't really care because this show is going to move forward. There's going to be no bullshit, meaning no storytelling here as far as frauds. It won't happen. It happened once. That was on me. My fault. I took responsibility for it because I let it go. It will never happen again. It won't. We don't platform cooperators, rats, snitches, cheese eaters, whatever word you can think of. And whoever doesn't like that, that's fine. That's just an emotion. They'll get over it. It's that simple. Right. And Francis, that's great. Um, it's so true. I got to tell you, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I am the furthest thing from perfect. I have many traits that are not good, that I've had to overcome them and deal with them and battle them, whatever they are. And they're instinctive stuff. And it could also be, it could be anything. But one thing I never had, ever, ever, and I thank God for that. I don't have jealousy in me, not a bone of it. I care less if you got 500 million, a billion. Good for you. God bless you. I hope you make another billion. I mean that. I mean, if you have a show that has 3 million subscribers and you get 800 million views a week, good for you. Great for you. It's not going to stop what we're doing. We said it in the beginning, whether we're talking to 1 or 500, 200, 10,000, we're going to talk. And I'll stay here with no subscribers just to annoy the people that don't like my face. But they don't have enough balls to tell me they don't like my face. I pray they would. It's always, just get it off your chest. You'll feel a lot better about it. See, I'm glad I'm not that guy that can hold things in. It's good and bad. So you'll always know where you stand with me because I can't play the phony game. I never could. I was never good at it. Can't do it. So I'm glad whoever used to come in here does not come in here anymore. Good. Don't come back. I'm glad. Don't come back. Ever. There's a lot of people that watch our show that they watch it, the analytics show it. I don't study the analytics. There's one of our people is really into that. I look at analytics in football. That's the truth. But somebody in our that it's in our community and friends group, he handles the analytics for us, and he'll advise me and say this or that. So he tells me we have so many people. If you guys just look, saw I put it up in a community post. Whoever didn't see it, it's not a big thing for a big show or somebody that has 10,000 subscribers to get 60,000 views. But guess what? When you're a small, like we're considered a small show, and we're starting now, we're up to having over 60,000 views. Well, enough people now have saw what we've had to say on this show. Where is it? Where is all the you're full of shit? Where is it? Where is it? Where is the guys that want to tell me I'm full of shit about anything I lived in my life? You know where they are? You see them, yeah? You know where they are? They ain't fucking in here because they don't have the balls to come in here. Even on a computer, they won't show their face on the screen. They'll come in dressed as a fucking Muppet. Yeah, they'll be like Elmo. They'll come in here like Elmo with a mask on. So sit your fucking ass down. Stay where you are. Like I told you. You know who I'm talking to. Ain't nothing but a fucking bridge between us. Ain't nothing but a bridge. And I got gorillas on a dime come and fucking snatch you. So stay in your lane. Stay in your lane and keep your whole group with you. Do not come in here. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes you just got to show your fangs. Sometimes. No drama here. No bullshit here. Tommy, I love you. What's up, my brother? We're not going to have it. Nobody's going to be disrespectful to a person in that chat. Ain't going to happen. It could happen, but it'll be stopped immediately. And I might not see it, but I guarantee you somebody in that chat's going to see it. And I wish there was a way we could take that person from the chat and rather than ban them, put them right up onto the stage and show their face. And I would love to have a conversation with all these tough guys. Every one of them. Every one of them. I'm 57. There's a lot more to do in life, right? I have grandchildren, I have children. There's a lot more I'd like to see. But I was taught young. It's not about winning and losing. It's about who's willing to go the distance. How far are you willing to go? It's not a tough guy. It's just real. It's real. It's real. How far is somebody willing to go? Fuck around, lay around, they used to say where I was from. Fuck around, lay around. So, fuck around, you'll wind up laying around. Just keep the drama, bro. Keep the drama elsewhere. Don't come in here. Nobody comes in here, and don't come in here. I'm glad. And again, I'm glad the fake crew and the frauds with the fourth party stories that tell stories about fucking, I knew a guy that had a cousin that was brother-in-laws with so-and-so, so now we're 7 people deep. I could come on here all day and tell you about, I knew a guy that was family. Again, that I wasn't with him, so I wouldn't do it. It's a second party story. Family or not, it's a second party story. I wasn't with him. Anyway. Nick A, what's up, my brother? Tommy Real Deal. How you feeling, my brother? How you feeling, Tommy? Are you ready to do your spot, Tibby Irish? Anybody want to jump up? I see we got 31 in the house. I'm willing to, we go to, like I said, we go to distance, right? So how far are you willing to go? I'm willing to go far with you guys. So if you just want to stick around, we stick around. If you just want to go watch hoops, I get it. I'm loving the fact. You know what? I'm going to say something now. I want to say something. Now that I got that off my chest, I feel so much better. Oh, ooze. Okay, you know what my problem was in life as a young person? You see it at 57. I'm passionate about everything, but sometimes passion, you'll make mistakes because of that passion. So you love very hard, family, friends. So when you're hurt or disappointed, not hurt, yeah, hurt. You take it you don't take it well. When you're angry or somebody sets you off, it's not good either because that's an emotion too. So that's part of being passionate. So for anybody out there, again, I skipped. I'm told with the analytics, and you guys know I don't do this. I forget all the time. Anybody, thank you, Davey. Exactly. And you guys know the crew that used to come in here and they don't come in here no more when Clown got chased. So, I'm glad. I'm glad because it shows who all of you people are that ran out of here if we won't have cooperators and liars and rats on here and cheese eaters and you're upset because Dr. Seuss ain't here no more, fucking Hanna-Barbera couldn't match him for stories. Whole market's waiting for fucking him. Okay? So you harbor that. What does that say about all you clowns that harbor that shit? You're worse than a rat and a snitch and any other word you could think of. So just sleep on that, because that's who you are. You're no different. All of you. Don't come in here. We don't want you here. Now, to the fine people at home that do enjoy the content, I'm told it's about 70% of people are not subscribed to us that watch. It's a big number. It could be a big number. And we don't usually ask this. You guys know this. For any of those people that do like the content, I'm sorry I had to, probably a lot of you see all the nonsense that goes on in this crazy thing. That's just my way of saying stay out of here. So for those that want no drama and a nice place to come and just chill and listen to stuff, we do a lot of different things, not just mob stuff, because there's more to us men than that made that choice. There's more to us. It's kind of like MMA. You got to be well-rounded in life. You should be well-rounded in life. You should be able to speak to a street guy. You should be able to speak. That's how it should be. You should be able to speak to anybody on any level. I don't care what kind of education you have. That has nothing to do with it. So anybody that watches our stuff on a regular basis, jump in. Takes a second. Hit that subscribe button. I'm guilty of it too. I watch some shows. I don't hit the subscribe button. It's free. It's free. Cost you nothing. You're watching the content anyway. Now, if you happen to be people that are watching the content just to see what we're talking about, so then you can go and do a review show, right? You know you are. You can do a review show of what we've talked about. Look at yourself in the mirror. I guess, you know what? That's not you know what? For some people, you can. You can. Certain people can look at themselves in the mirror, knowing a lot of different things. But anyway, anybody want to come up? Nobody wants to come. Nobody wants to hang with me? All right. Craig, I bet a lot of people watch without having an account. You see, babe, I got to tell you, bro, I hear you. I wouldn't even know how to do that. Straight. I would not even know how to do that. Like, you got nothing but time on your hands to make fucking fake accounts? Really? If you don't like something or somebody, how about you just go on that show and tell them, I don't like you, bro. I don't like you or nothing about you. I would respect that so much more. I really would. Then you got choices, right? You don't like me. I don't like you. What are you going to do? How you going to handle it? We're going to, all right, you, as men, what? We old now, or whatever. But at least you got that off your chest. Don't hold on to shit. Don't be a Girl Scout. You're a tough guy. Tommy, thank you for, oh man, Tommy, what a saying. I told you I would never forget that. And Tommy, I forgot how to say it. So I did forget it. What a saying. And this is one I told you when you told me it, I had never heard, and I heard a lot of them. Remember, the tongue doesn't have any bones, but it can break a lot of bones. So true. So true. So you see, I speak the truth. Tommy thank you for the reminder, Tommy. I'm speaking the truth right now. And the frauds, I don't care if they're frauds. That I worry about what happens here. But, you know, don't whisper. You ain't no need to whisper. Just come on here and have the balls. And just say, I don't like you. Craig, I don't like you. I don't like Jimmy. I'm mad at Jimmy. I'm mad. And then take your bat and ball and go home. You got options, right? You got options. We all have options. Anybody want to come up? I don't know how to do Like my dad, the great McGaff, would say, honesty is the best policy. Well, sometimes people don't. Sometimes people don't like to hear what we call the brutal truth. I know there was a point in my life I didn't like to hear it when my father would tell me about the brutal truth. Let me tell you how it is. I don't like your attitude, whatever age I was. And believe me, when he said that, something was coming right after it. So, you could tell a lot. So, I don't watch the other stuff, but every now and again, um, something will pop up. I don't look for it. It just pops up on, like in your feed, like you on YouTube. Just like our videos, Mike. Oh, OG, what's up, my brother? I didn't even see you, Mike. What's up, bro? Mikey, OG is in the house. If we could drop OG's link, please. Mountain Man. I thought you had a show tonight, my brother. Thank you for popping in, OG. I got nothing but love for you, my man. Nothing but. I saw you get upset in one of your shorts, OG. And I was thinking about that. I didn't have a chance to hit you back. But you do it the right way, Mike. You don't. I know. I wish I had that self-control. Not self-control. I just feel like, you know what it is, Mike. I just feel like I want to address it. Let's just address it. And especially when it's other content creators that are looking for. Forget about the trolls that are out there that got nothing better to do with their life, right? That make these fake accounts and come in with these crazy names, Gumby, Elmo, fucking Oscar the Grouch, whatever name they're coming up with, right? They do all of that. And then you got guys that have channels screaming, going after guys with other channels. Just stay in your lane. What are you worried about what anybody else is doing? What are you worried about it? Well, worry about your own stuff. You ain't got to worry about nobody else, especially when you consider you're one of the big boys with all your subscribers. That's all. Worry about your stuff. What are you worrying about anybody else's stuff? It's no different than watching somebody else's wallet. Don't worry about what somebody's got in their pocket. Worry about what you got in yours. That's the truth. That's just straight truth. Again, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. You guys, sometimes you want maybe, I got to show a little emotion, right? I'm not a robot. Hey, I got feelings too. Sal, I just made you laugh thinking of the great Papa Joe Gatto. Yeah, he was true blue. Always remembered his advice. Yeah. Thank you, Sal. Yeah, sometimes you get twisted up here, but I'm more self-controlled now, Sally boy. That's a good one though. The Great McGaff. I love that nickname. I love that, Francis. My father had a name. They called him Joe Black, but there was a lot of guys from Harlem with the nickname Black too. You had a lot of blacks, but you probably won't be able to see it because of the I would have showed you a picture of Pops. He's no longer here, but they called him Joe Black because he had a very that's probably winter time, so he's very olive. You know what I mean? So that's what I call it. I only put that up there because that's my man. That was my main man. But if anybody, we still got 34 in the house, so I'm not going to say goodnight to nobody. But if there's something you wanted to drop the link. Yeah, Timmy, let's do this. Timmy Irish, anybody, Tommy Realdale, whoever wants to come up, I'm dropping the link right now. Here we go. Whoever wants to come up, come on. We're all family here. This is what we are, right? We are that community, and maybe that's what people don't like. Maybe they don't like we are different than what other people screaming and yelling, cursing at each other on the same show. That's That's incredible that goes on. I don't know how it's allowed from whoever like runs these channels. Like how? And I even hear content creators like even like with their regular people that are in their chat. If they don't like what somebody says in their chat, they take it personal and like start yelling. Like what? I guess it's easy to yell from somebody through a computer screen. I guess. I guess. I guess. I guess. But it's not about who wins or loses. It's about who. There was a funny movie years ago. Jim Carrey was in it. It was called Sal. Remember that movie where he says, "Enjoy going to the party with one eye"? I forget what it was. Enjoy going to the. Matter about wins and losses. It's about how you behave when tested. Oh, there's a guy I don't know. What do you hear? What do you say, my man?
What's up, Craig? How are you?
I'm good, my brother. It's always good to see you and have you up here with me. What's happening?
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. Listen,
you had to come up here and stop me because I was going wild. No, I just had to let a few things off my chest.
well, you the guy said you wanted somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't really think so because I think you like the light,
No, I needed you up here because it's time for maybe I need to be sedated. But now I'm good, brother. I just had some things I wanted to get off my chest about all. Not that the drama comes here, but I just want to remind: don't bring it here. That's it. Don't.
Well, you know what it is, Craig. I've been watching. I told you over 3 years. Now I've met a lot of nice people, gentlemen, ladies.
Yeah, absolutely.
For everyone I've met, there's like 300 morons, So, I don't roll like that. That's sissy stuff, calling one another names, challenging one another on the internet.
Crazy.
It's not, I can't understand how grown-ups talk like that. We come in the chat, we talk, and, we talk about things in our life, things in common. The people are all friendly, and that's what you want. I mean, before Roy Munson said it the best. I'd rather have 5 good subscribers than 5,000 morons,
Absolutely. Roy is, I told you, Roy is a special dude, man. He knows that he knows how I feel. We've had some good conversations, really good conversations like I've had with you and some family members that are in here. And just about everybody, Tommy, Nick,
right.
But you know what's good about our community? Stevie, who's not here, he was here earlier. You know what's great about our community? I'm going to tell you this. Every last one in our community, our friends, can email me. Well, and a lot have my phone number and could ask that of anybody in the chat, and they would be willing to give it to anybody. That's how I feel everybody is bonded with each other.
Yeah.
I really feel that way because I've spoke to so many personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not, I'm talking about life things, like serious things,
You can see they're good people. They ask people to hit the like, subscribe,
Thank you, Roy.
That's what you need, people that contribute, and to me, that's the best part of YouTube. I watch one show. Anybody who knows me, I used to go in the chat. That was Angel Gotti's show. But that drama is like...
Thank you, Tommy. I thought we did tonight. I'm sorry, Timmy. I thought we did that for tonight. I asked my son to set it up. You didn't see it, Tommy? It wasn't up? All right. I'll make sure we do that. And Timmy recommended the same thing to me last week, but I'll stay on top of that. Definitely. Thank you. Tommy's saying the same thing you said. Set the subscriber mode at 5 minutes. I can tell you right now if it was set that way. Because he showed me, he said, "Pop, I set it up for you." I said, "All right, thanks, bud." Anyway, I'm cool.
What I was saying is you see a lot of good people and then they get entangled in that stuff. I like YouTube for different things. I watch tow trucking shows. I guys laying concrete. I mean,
Thank
mob
you.
fireside chat. It's like the history of the street life. Different things that interest me. But you see the same people. They love that fighting, that drama, and me. It gives me a headache. I tell you that.
I got to just say one thing. Thank you, Steve. And it's what you see from across the computer, and I could feel the same way. But it's crazy. This sounds really nuts, but what's amazing? Forget about the storytellers. I don't even give a shit about that. I don't care. That's not my life. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to embarrass my children and have them walk down the street and have somebody say, "Hey, your father's a fucking pathological liar on YouTube." Like, that's the last thing I gotta ever have to worry about.
Right.
So I don't, that stuff about people making up stories, I care less about that. I'm talking about the disrespect, like the cursing at each other.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And they're talking serious violence.
yeah.
All I say is this, Timmy. What if you are that guy that does take it? You know what? I was never talked to that way my whole life. Just because I'm on a computer,
Right.
I'm going to accept it. No, hear me out. I might not, I'm hypothetical, I'm not talking about myself. But you can talk all of that hot shit or whatever it is you're going to say to each other. But what if I'm this? I'll use me as an example. Just I'm an example, hypothetically. What if I don't want to accept that, how you spoke to me? What if that means something to me?
Right.
What if that means something to me?
Right.
Maybe I am stupid enough to go and find you because it meant something to me. I understand it's stupid, it's trivial. We're older. I get it. But people on these platforms they talk out of the side of their mouth. Truly, I don't think they understand, or they probably do know who's gonna be. You know why? I think I know why this shit's going on. Because just like the street's a mess, the street guys are laughed at. Hear me out. What I mean by laughed at. It's nothing of what it was. Not even close. You fucked around, you got dropped, you got left. You were lucky, you got left where you were standing. You got caught doing anything. It could have been a million things. I'm sorry to equate it to that. So now you get talked to crooked over the internet. You got to do this. There's a lot of different things you have to do. And by then you're going to be calmed down from it, right? But what if you are that person that never accepted disrespect your whole life, and now all of a sudden you're dealing with something that you will never let happen, no matter what. You got to die before you let somebody talk to you that way, and I mean that literally. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about it could be anybody, not me. It could be anybody.
But
maybe I do feel that way, but it could be anybody.
Social media has created an atmosphere of disrespect without consequences. See, they're sitting there, they're in the screen, they're telling you something that they would never say to your face and getting away with it. So that's the atmosphere it brings. But I agree, this thing could go, sideways quick, and, people get hurt, and it's just not worth it. If you can't, like, people come in and just for no reason say hateful things. Why? Mm-hmm. Turn the channel. You don't
watch. Don't come in, right?
And that's what it is. And I think it's a lot of immaturity. I think it gives a lot of guys that normally meek on here, they have a voice and they can say whatever they want. And
you can. I guess you can. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not going to be. Look, I had a voice. I said whatever I wanted to say tonight, and I said it. And I'll stand by it.
Right.
And that's my name. And I live in College Point, Queens. I've said that from the first video.
Right.
I'm an old dude, right? Washed up old dude. I'm just saying.
But you know how I think about it, how I look at him? It's mind over matter. I don't mind because they don't matter.
Nah, no, I get it. Yeah,
Anything
no,
they wanna say.
100%.
You're not
100%.
going to come over here and do anything and say anything to me. I know that. So, it's ridiculous. But that's why this chat is great, because everybody here wants to be here and they're good people. And I'm telling you, out of all the programs I watch, you can't buy that with money. Really. I mean,
I tell you,
been around like
maybe you're right. And Tommy Real Deal has,
right. Tommy's
like
another one.
you
Has,
and a lot of people here. I've learned from.
Know what the chats are like. I mean, these people have seen it just like I've seen it.
OG Mike tells me all the time, pay it no mind. Act like it never happens.
Yeah.
Make believe they're not even there.
Well,
and for the most part, I do, because we don't get it.
Out.
A lot.
Because that's basically where trolls come from, is channels like that. Excuse me. And if you feed into them insulting you, they're just going to keep coming. That's why you just ignore them. Goodbye.
You hear what Nick just said, Timmy? Beautiful. He said it before, but I just saw it now. And Nick has already said this to me. And I told him, like I told Tommy, I was going to remember that. But everybody knows I must have lost one side of the brain at some point in my life. People who want to hear crazy stories never been in a crazy story. Well said, Nick. Oh, well said. Oh, beautiful. Wow. Beautiful. Couldn't have been said any better.
Anybody that grew up in the streets of the 5 boroughs in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, it's a way different time than it is now.
Or even just you're brought up just with certain, I mean, street, just certain things. You're just not. I said it in the last couple shows. Everybody should have some things in their life that are non-negotiable. Now, for everybody, it might be something different. But there's certain things in my life are non-negotiable, whatever they might be. Could be my family, could be my friends, it could be my faith, whatever. Right. Certain things in your life should be non-negotiable. Now, you can't push that on nobody, but I'm sure everybody has something where they're just not willing to sell out for, or sell out, or whatever word you want to use. Certain things, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel, and I'll die that way. Certain things are just non-negotiable. And respect, it comes in many forms, right? It could be you show somebody respect, and it could be a little thing like, "Hey, how you doing, bud?" And that person is one of those people that he says hello when he's in the mood to. You ever come across that guy in the workforce? You say hello to somebody, you see him, you always got to say hello. You say hello, and then he's the kind of guy that he says hello when he's in the mood to say hello.
I ignore people like that.
Right, but for me, that used to build up. So I would notice it. Something would happen, and then 6 months later, that guy that had a hard time saying hello and being respectful,
right?
He was getting rained on, and he had no reason why. What the fuck did I do? Well, you've been a jerk off for the last 6 months. Well, if it's an effort for you to shake my hand, don't ever shake. Don't shake it at all, ever. And then we're okay. I know. But don't be my best friend one day and ask for my family and this and that,
Right.
and then walk by me and act like you don't know me.
Right.
I'm just using that as a
No, I've
lesson.
seen that a million times. You're right. You're right.
You
But
know what I
then,
mean? I'm talking about like that kind of person.
yeah, I just ignore them. You know, this life is to me is especially getting older. You know, I don't have
Yeah.
time for that nonsense.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I agree. I don't have time for it either.
You know, it's just like I'm getting on the bus, right? And I had 2 Metro cards. So the first one was empty. I thought both of them had one. I knew one was full. So I pull out the first one, right? And I stick it in so it beeps. It don't go in. The guy's sneaking on the bus. He says to me, "Oh, you're holding up the line." I said, "Okay, don't worry. As soon as I put the Metro card in, I'll empty the line for you. You're telling me about the Metro card. You're not even paying to get on." So we wound up in the back of the bus, and now I'm face to face with him. He's sitting down hiding. But the point I'm trying to make is people go out of their way to look for trouble. He thought I was just some old guy that was going to take it, you know, and I'm not having it. But, you know, you try to ignore that stuff because it's all over. People,
Absolutely.
listen, when we
You're right.
grew up, it was what your father said. You didn't have an opinion or you didn't get to do what you wanted to do. So when you grow up like that and then you go to school and then the nuns are in charge and, you know, and if you did something wrong in school, you got whacked. You came home, you got whacked again. You know, so it's a whole different life. And I'll tell you something, and maybe I'm guilty of it, but my kids have respect. But I didn't raise my kids the way my father raised me.
No, we wanted to do better. We didn't want it right. I got
My
it.
father think not. I mean, not that my father hit me, but he
No,
grabbed
I
me
got
by
fucked
the
up.
neck, and you know he's scared of living Jesus out of you. You know, no doubt about that. But you know, everybody knew their place, and today, you know, it's not like that.
No, it's a different world, but I still think you got a parent. But that's for another. We could sidebar that one. But I'm gonna I'm gonna. What do you think? You
What?
guys want to hang? We'll hang. I mean, we still got 30 in the room. I got no problem. You know, you guys. You're lucky I'm not
Roy
drinking.
Munson.
They're
Roy
lucky I'm not drinking. I'd be here all night.
I think Roy Munson. The last time we were talking, you were having a few brewskis there.
Oh,
I
Roy's
told
good
you.
people, man.
My grandmother's from the south of Ireland. She's from Roscommon. My grandfather, well, actually, my great grandfather, is from England, but they migrated, however you want to say, to the north of Ireland. They lived in Derry, okay? And then I know some of them lived in Belfast, and then they came to America. But that's way
Go ahead,
back,
Cinnamon. Love you. Go ahead. Sorry,
you
Cinnamon.
know.
Go ahead, brother.
No, he just asked me that question the last time. I
Oh,
just wanted to tell him because I know he doesn't live far from Roscommon. Not that everybody knows.
Roy is. I've told you off air. There's so many people behind the scenes that are you know, they're so humble. They're so humble.
You see what he just said? He's from across the river from Roscommon. I knew that.
You know what's funny? I told Roy that there's something on YouTube, and it's called the it's a cam that's pointed right in Dublin. So I told him, me and my wife, we watched these live cams, and everybody's coming out of the bars in Dublin, and it's 24 hours. And Roy told me, he said, "Yeah, I was there a couple weeks ago. He knew about the cam. He was there, and we had a good conversation. It was a good conversation." But
See, he remembers now.
yeah,
Listen,
absolutely.
our lives are busy, you know. Like me, I have a million conversations a week, you know, and I do the same thing sometimes. But see, I'm lucky, Roy. I can blame it on getting old, you know.
Yeah, so that's what I do. But I'm making a comeback. I just want you guys to know. I'm making a comeback. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you, I'm making a comeback. Now, what does that mean? I have no clue. I haven't decided which comeback I'm going to make. That could mean I'm going to go work in BJ's, Jetro, become a butcher, but I'm making a comeback. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might sell newspapers. I don't know.
You know what's crazy? When I was a kid, I worked. I did anything for $1. You know, when I was 14 in the summer. It's before McDonald's was in New York, but down by the Empire State Building was a
Amen, David.
joint. It was called Hungry Mac, and I used to flip hamburgers in there. I made $1.05 an hour. I looked at my Social Security
Amen,
statement.
David.
I worked the whole summer. I made like $650, $1.05 an hour. But the thing is we come where when we were young, I guess we didn't have much.
No,
So
I
right
never.
off
No,
the bat, working was the option, you
No.
know. And I always looked to work, you know. And I'll tell you something: when you worked, the older people respected you more,
absolutely.
you know. So
When
that's
I was very young, this is going to sound crude. You know, this is the real world. You know, maybe not to our crew, but to others, they'll say wow, that's fucked up. A parent says that. But it was a joke. It was, but he meant it too. My old man used to say when my mother would complain, like, you know, we're all boys. He would have enough of her. He must have heard her say a few times, I told you to throw out the garbage. I told you to throw out the garbage. Finally, the old man said, you know, if he heard it too many times, whoever was near him first, could have been me or one of my other brothers. Oh, your mother said throw out the garbage. You didn't. We didn't answer my father back. That's just the way it was. You didn't answer him back. And there's people here that knew him. We just there was so much respect and love there. And not only that, we listened. And he would say, as I was throwing out the garbage, and you better get used to it because the way this fucking family is, you're lucky if you become a fucking sanitation worker. So get used to throwing out the garbage. I laugh too. I laughed my whole fucking life. I got to tell you, a sanitation worker? You fucking kidding me? You'd be like a surgeon in this family.
Your dad reminds me of my
Good
dad.
job.
My father was like, my father used to deliver, I told you, sides of beef. He drove a trailer out of the meat market down on 10th Street. Well, it's towards 14th, but the slaughterhouse was on 10th. And, you know, I wouldn't say nothing to my father disrespectful, but when I used to get angry and I used to, you know, want to say something to him, let's say we've been standing on the sidewalk, I say, okay, Pop, stay here, Pop. He go, where you going? I said, I'm going on the other side of the car. He said, why are you going on the other side of the car? I said, because I got something to tell you that you ain't going to like, and I'm not standing next to you.
There you go. Yeah, swear to God, it's crazy, right? But you know what? It molded us to not be soft in a way where you had thick skin. So, I mean, but it also, I know I understood young school years, especially like going junior high, then obviously high school years. When words became a threat, I knew I had you develop those instincts of because how maybe we were parented too tough to some people. But you know what? I understood. My brother had one. We understood certain things are said, and body language says another thing. So, quite honestly, I mean, I don't want this to turn into, you know, fucking Craig's self-defense school. That's not this. But I'm proud to say this. There's not too many. I got my ass kicked many times. It's not about that. There's not too many fights I had where I let somebody get off on me first. That's what I'm saying. Because I didn't let you get close to me. I wouldn't let you get close.
You gotta have that imaginary line.
Well, it's true though too. And 9 out of 10, I was going to tackle you anyway long before MMA came around because that's all I knew. And then just punch till you're exhausted and going to get a stroke. and then until you're exhausted. But anyway, nobody wants to hear about violence and crazy nonsense in high school or after. I just want to tell you, Timmy, and everybody, I love you guys. I thank you for coming. We've had a great night. I think we've had another enjoyable evening. Did you have an enjoyable evening, Tim?
Yes.
Are you sure, buddy?
Thank you. Thanks,
Did you decide what fight you would like to do Monday?
No, you're the boss. I let you do that.
No. You're a boxing guy. You want to add? Maybe somebody in the chat wants to pick a fight.
Well, one guy, I don't know.
What did Benny say? Name a fight, guys, you want to see. Well, let Roy. Is Roy still here? Let Roy pick a fight. Or Davey.
I looked in Benny. Benny, I looked in the only fight you can get of
Tony Zell
and Zell.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
It's the third one, and that's 4 rounds. The third fight, it only went 4 rounds. So,
Roy, what fight you want to see? Roy, give us a fight, Roy, for Monday. Maddie, I don't even want to get into the Irish curse. I'll tell you over the phone. I think I know what you took. We'll keep that for another. Sal is saying Ali Frazier won. He got that in under the wire, Timmy. I don't want anybody to think there's nepotism here.
Who said that?
Sal says Ali Frazier won. We did the Thriller in Manila. Ali Frazier won Monday night. What do you say?
Yeah, that was a great fight. That was I think that was 1971.
Yankee Stadium?
I can't remember.
I remember my dad telling me one of them was at Yankee Stadium. I don't know which one.
I don't. That one, you know why I remember that the most? I mean, not only the way the fight went, but I'm pretty sure that was one of the first fights where you went to the movie theater for the closed circuit TV and you paid like $25 and you saw the fight in the movie theater. But I think that was like one of the first ones.
South says it was at Madison Square Garden. All right. So we're set for.
That's right. I remember now. He's right. Madison Square Garden. Right.
All right. So we're set for boxing Monday night. And just for the chat to know, when I tell you we have things coming, I never promise nothing. And I'm not going to do it tonight. But I'm telling you, dates are being set, and some names are going to be here that are well known and that care about our channel. And it might surprise some people who they are. And they're real people, good people, like family. They treat you like family. We're only going to have like great people up here that believe in what we believe in. No bullshit, no snitching, no ratting. Men are men, women are women. Everybody respects each other, and that's how we'll end the night. But I want to say this: maybe Sunday. I haven't done an upload, Timmy, in a long time. So maybe I might do an upload Sunday, just to see how if we get. Because not everybody likes the football stuff, but the last football show got a decent amount of views considering what they normally get.
Yeah.
So I might do another, but I might do it as an upload. And Timmy, as we discussed, we're gonna play around with, like we talked about, with some different things and live upload. We're gonna move some things around to see what works better live, what works better upload. We're going to try some different things. That's the only way we're going to know if we're optimizing what we're doing. And
when is the actual draft?
The actual draft is not to the end of April.
Oh, okay.
So I got another 5 weeks of work to do. Every week I got to have stuff up, and it's forever evolving. I'm constantly, there's 3 news. We're going to break down centers this week, but I still got to go through like another 22 teams of what they've done in the off season, right. And what I believe is good, maybe not so good. I'm getting a lot of shit from Jet fans. I love it. I love it. Good comment, bad comment. It's how they feel. That's great. But as a fan, you could be blinded because I'm looking at it totally different than the fandom. I'm not looking at it that way. I'm looking at it a totally different way.
Well, I feel sorry for those guys, Jet fans.
Well, I do too. And I said what I said about no direction. I mean it. They haven't had direction since Mike Tannenbaum, and I wasn't a Tannenbaum guy, but he learned under Parcells. He was the cap guy.
Yeah.
And they haven't had any direction since Rex Ryan and Mike Tannenbaum. That's a fact. So we're going on how many years now? Their general manager, their record is 23 and I think 51 since he's been there.
Wow.
You want to tell me that's direction? Okay. They've had 4 head coaches, 3 head coaches in the past 5 years. I don't know. I don't have it offhand, but I promise you I will have it.
Right.
Like when I'm done with the Jets, but I got a remark today. Buffalo is the only New York team. Tommy, you're 1,000,000% right, because if you were there, you heard me in the last football show. I kept calling them the New Jersey Jets and the New Jersey Giants.
No. New York Giant football.
Well, not to me, makes me sick that they moved. Well, first of all, you see, my dad, when I was young, very young, there was one year my dad had season tickets to the Jets. Now, I told you, I grew up 6 blocks from Shea Stadium where the Jets played.
Right.
So, like all these Jet fans getting on me, what they really didn't know is that I kind of grew up with a lot of love for the Jets. I became a Steeler fan about very young, 7, 8 years old. But my dad liked Joe Namath, so I always had love for the Jets. And the only time I only rooted against the Jets when they played the Steelers. But because of the comments I'm getting, I hope they get smashed. No, I'm not kidding. No. We're gonna have fun with it. I'm gonna do like 6 more teams, free agents, what they did, what I see, where I think the holes are. Don't take my word for it. Let's see how the year plays out. Let's see who's right, who's wrong, who isn't.
Well, you know what's crazy? When I was a kid, we used to go see the Giants in Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
And years later, I don't know, I heard it on TV a million times, but they always say when they talk about the Giants, they say the New York Football Giants.
Yes.
So one day I was sitting there with my dad. I said, Pop, why do they always do that? He said, because they came from the Polo Grounds. He said they played in the Polo Grounds, and you had the New York Giant baseball team. So that's why they started calling the New York Football Giants. I never even knew the Giants played in the Polo Grounds.
You're going to get me started with the trivia questions. Don't get me started. I want to go.
No, but did you know that?
That's a good one. No, I knew that. I
didn't know that.
It's not like I was born knowing that. I just happened to not research it. I was told that.
I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think they closed the Polo Grounds when I was a baby. You know, a little kid, like in the early 60s, must have been something like that, late 50s. I'm not exactly sure, you know, but I always thought Yankees, Giant football. Now, I never associated it with across the river.
Now, all my Flushing friends, right? I grew up, like I tell you, so close. You know where I am. Yeah. Where I grew up on Northern Boulevard and 149th Street. Right. Shea Stadium, I used to jog there. When I was playing ball, I used to jog there, jog back, stay in shape, whatever. PAL, the boxing club, was in World's Fair, which is it's right there, World's Fair. Yeah. So you had the PAL, Freddie, Kevin Kelly, all the guys came out of there. Terrence, there was a lot of guys came out of there. Long story short, but I grew up a diehard Yankee fan.
Right.
And the Mets played right down the street. Right down the street. I couldn't root.
You know why I thought I just associated the Giants with the Yankees? Because you just mentioned Shea Stadium. Because the Jets played there with the Mets. So I just thought it was like,
Yeah.
But in reality, once upon a time, it wasn't.
Yep. Tommy Realdeal says he remembers when the Dodgers moved to LA. That had to be sickening for New York fans. It had to be sickening. And then the Giants. We lost 2 teams, right? The Dodgers and the Giants.
Yeah.
I don't know why they let that happen. And then they let it happen with the Jets and Giants. As much as everybody wants to say no, bullshit. Listen, but hear me out on this. Not only do they play in New Jersey, training camp is in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Everything is in New Jersey. And New Jersey, MetLife Stadium lets you know at midfield, it's a big circle. Welcome to MetLife, home of New Jersey, or some shit. There's got to be Scott involved. I'm sure they call them New York because they're getting paid or something. But when they wanted to put that new stadium up down in where the Hudson Yards is and everything's going up over there, and they were talking about doing another one next to Citi Field because there's so much room over there. There had to be somebody, because there was a lot of old money on the west side of Manhattan where the Hudson Yards is, and they didn't want, a football stadium. But you lost 2 NFL teams. I don't see how. Listen, I get it, but there's a lot of players, that are going to get drafted in a month, in 30-something days, right? And they're going to get drafted by either the Jets or Giants. And maybe nobody has told them. They think they're going to New York City. Yeah, I get it. It's only 40 minutes away. 35, 45, 2 hours, depending on the traffic.
To crossing the bridge.
You're going to see, where you're going? Not that Jersey's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but you're going to Secaucus, New Jersey, East Rutherford. That's where you play. Now, but these kids think they're going to be in Manhattan. Because you ever see, I want you to just watch this. Remember this for the next Monday Night Football, Thursday night, whenever the Jets or the Giants are home. They will always show you the New York City skyline. And I always get pissed off when they do it because I'm like, and my son's, these people that are watching have no clue unless they're from here. That you're 45 minutes from here. They make it look like it's you can walk there.
So what are you saying? They should call them the Jersey Giants?
Call them the Jersey Jerk-offs. Yeah, you're right. I'll stop. Tommy, you're right. Well, Tommy's talking. Yeah, Tommy, Tommy, you're the voice of reason. New York lost a lot of tax revenue.
Listen, I go down to the Hudson Yards, and I look at it. Now, they put up maybe...
Yeah, I had my son over there as a laborer. Yeah.
Right, but they got the skyscrapers up. But
beautiful buildings. You know who owns everything in the Hudson Yards? You know what developer?
No.
He's an NFL owner.
Really?
Stephen Ross. He owns the Miami Dolphins.
Wow.
He owns everything that went up in the Hudson Yards and the Javits Center.
But I think the big thing down there was the parking. Because on a Sunday,
whatever it was, they didn't want it there. The old money didn't want it. No, whatever it is, whatever it is, they're in Jersey. Let them, we should get an expansion team. That's all. Let's get an expansion team.
Well, put them where?
Put them in Long Island. I'm sure we can find somewhere to go.
Long Island.
I don't know.
You might as well put them in the desert. You put them in Long Island.
Listen, I
can't put them in Long Island. And you can't put it in Westchester.
Listen, I almost said, all right, forget it. What I was going to say was, if it wasn't the size of a stadium, I would know where to put somebody. No, I'm kidding. What I mean is this. No, I don't mean that as a joke. What I mean is, I have no freaking clue where to put it, but New York State is pretty freaking big.
Yeah, but like you said, Long Island, it has to be a place where people from Jersey, Long Island, Westchester can get to the stadium.
Yeah, but we got to worry about New Yorkers, no?
What?
We got to worry about the people in New York. We don't have a team.
Well, I'll tell you, my crazy brother-in-law, he used to go from Long Island all the way to the Meadowlands to see the Jets. Every Sunday.
Maddie's saying Long Island has plenty of space. He lives out there.
but it's not easy accessible.
No, and listen, it's all the political bullshit too. Let's face it. Look how long it took the Islanders to get a new stadium. Right or
But it's
wrong?
beautiful, Craig.
Gorgeous.
I'm happy for those fans.
You don't think there's room out there? You don't think there's room out there? There's room out there.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think a place they could have put it in before they built that Resorts World was the Aqueduct Racetrack. Now that would
They
have been
talked
big
about that for a
place.
long time. Belmont, Aqueduct, one of them
Yeah.
places. Yeah, Aqueduct would have been perfect.
Because like this place, the Yonkers, the Empire City,
Yep.
they do that harness racing.
Yeah.
And I never see anybody in there. Not like my dad told me that in the old days,
It would be a
that
traffic
was a
nightmare.
union job. My father was a bartender there in the early 60s. That was a union job. But my dad said on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they drew like 20,000 people a day. Can you
Tommy
imagine?
Real Deal says Long Island. Timmy, you're losing this argument, Timmy.
What?
This
I ain't
disagreement.
going. I live
Tommy
in
Real Deal
Westchester
says
County.
Long
I'm
Island.
not going I'm going to drive to Long Island to see a football game. I don't think so.
All right, so you'd rather drive to Jersey?
What?
I took me 6 hours one night to get home from a Giant game.
I'm not. I don't go to. When I used
I'd
to
rather
go
sit
to
in my
the
living
games,
room. I see the game better anyway.
but when we used to go to the games with the kids, what we do is we barbecue after the game too, until the parking lot was empty.
I mean, you're going to come with me this year. I know you are. We're going to Pittsburgh. We're going to make that trip. We do it. We try to do it every year. We haven't done it in a couple of years. I know you're not a Steeler fan, but you're going to become one. We're going to get you with the terrible towel, fucking going nuts. I'm going to put up a whole slideshow of me in Pittsburgh. I swear I'm going to do it. I got it here. I will put up a slideshow at me and my children at a Steeler game, a playoff game against the Ravens. Out of control. Just totally out of control. But I love it.
My son Jack could fit right in with you guys.
Yeah, good. Jack is coming too.
He's a
Good.
Steeler fan. I told him, you tell me one more Steeler story, I'm going to lock you in the bathroom.
We're going up there, me and Sal, we're going to go up there for camp, training camp as well.
Where do they play, the Steelers?
St. Vincent. Oh, where do they play? Heinz Field. It's actually downtown Pittsburgh in the city. But their training camp, they're one of the few teams that still travels for training camp, and they hold their training camp at the same place they've held it since 1962, St. Vincent's College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And they don't.
And the baseball team is a different stadium, right?
No, it's actually PNC. Yes, it's a different stadium. Yes,
different
but
stadium.
PNC Park is beautiful. It's right next to Heinz Field. Gorgeous. You got a big statue of Roberto Clemente out. Gorgeous stadium. Gorgeous. Over, and you can see the three bridges, the yellow bridges. Oh, it's beautiful.
Right.
And not just because I'm a Steelers fan. It's a beautiful stadium. It is. It's a
I
great.
remember that. That's what they call the Three Rivers, right?
Well, when I growing up, it was Three Rivers.
No, but because of those bridges there.
Because you had the Mahoganyla. Tommy, help me out. I used to know them like the back of my hand. The Mahoganyla. Those were the names of the rivers. Yeah, it was important to me to know them, and now I'm fucking an old bastard. I forgot them. Don't look them up. Nobody cheat. The Mahoganyla.
Pittsburgh is closer to Ohio than it is to New York.
I think they're 90 miles to when they travel to Cleveland to play the Browns. I don't know if that's true or not, but
yes.
And it's also not a far drive to Detroit, I was told.
I got family lives in Pontiac.
Really?
Yeah.
And I love Dan Campbell, so I don't know. Maybe we'll go. I'm going to try to hit. I don't know. I like to do a road trip.
Actually, my oldest sister and her son still live there.
Really?
Yeah. It's beautiful out there. They're
loved
like
it,
40 minutes from Canada.
I love the city of Pittsburgh. It was great. They had and it's not about a Steelers fan. It just was a cool little. It's a big little city. Now I don't. There's some. Like everywhere else, there's some parts of Pittsburgh are tough, no different than we got here, like the boroughs. But it is what it is. Tommy said, I went to Pittsburgh when Bills was a wild card team and trounced the Steelers. Thanks, Tommy. Thanks for bringing that up. The Steelers, when the Bills were a wild card team, yeah, they hammered us. Yep. Tommy, how far a drive is that from Buffalo to Pittsburgh? And thanks, Tommy. Now I got to go home and watch the tape of that game to bring up all those raw emotions.
That's got to be about 12
I think it's probably about an hour and a half. I don't think it's that far a drive. I think it's like 100 miles too. I could be wrong. Wrong. Pittsburgh to Buffalo.
Oh man, that's
3 hours. What do you think?
No, it's got to be about 8-10 hours.
Tommy,
Western,
Ohio,
New York.
The Mahogany Yellow. Oh, Sally Boy, here we go. We're going this year. I told you I'm coming. He takes his son. My nephew is a big Steeler fan, so he takes his son every year to training camp. Drives up to Pittsburgh, St. Vincent's, and goes to Steeler training camp. And so I'm going to go. You had the Mahogany Yellow, and I forget, but I'm just curious, how far a drive is it from? Oh, here goes Tommy. Here he said it. Oh, wow. I didn't think it was that far. 2.5 to 3 hours. Wow. I don't know why I thought I'm bad. I'm thinking Western New York. Okay, I don't know what I'm thinking, but it is. It's more close. Pittsburgh's close to Ohio.
Well,
it's more.
Listen, from New York City, it's faster to drive to Canada, Ottawa, than it is to drive to Buffalo. Buffalo is a much longer drive.
Tommy said we took a limousine. Ohio, the Mahogany Yellow, and the Susquehanna.
Yeah.
Thank you for ruining my night that I couldn't remember that, Maddie. You're always good to fuck me up for the night. Maddie, don't be calling me at 2 a.m. either. Listen, we went strong here, man. We had a great time, a good time. I'm going to irritate people more Sunday. Maybe we'll do it live. Maybe I'll do it as an upload. If people want to hang out, we'll do it as a live. We'll break down another 7 teams, 8 teams, what they did in the offseason. We'll do another mock draft, and we'll break down the interior linemen that are coming out that we feel are the top 7. Maybe we'll do 7, 10.
Do you have a headache?
Yeah. What the fuck? Why? Yeah, I do, actually. Am I dying?
I'm not using the glasses.
I do have a headache. Wow. Holy shit. I thought you knew something. I thought you had that mental telepathy.
I do. I just told you why.
Holy shit. I thought you had that, what do they call that, mental telepathy? Holy shit.
I'm good. I'm not that good.
6.5, 7 hours, Buffalo to New York City. Yeah, my son played ball in Erie, and he used to take the train from Penn Station to Erie College. And that was, I think, and now that bus train, and it was the same line that went to Montreal. He said Erie was like one of the last stops in New York. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know shit. I just know it would take him 6 hours, 5 hours or so to get to Erie.
It's a long, long ride.
I know when I used my, when we were young and I go see my brother, he'd be upstate, way up. Everything is way up, wherever they put you. And the travel was a bitch, boy. And, I won't get into it, but yeah, whether it's Elmira, Dannemora, Clinton, they're all up. Greenhaven, they're up. Buffalo to Erie is about an hour and a half. All right. Thank you, Tommy. Always. I just want to, Timmy, I'll give you the honors. If you could do me a favor.
What?
My throat is freaking killing me. I've talked way too much.
What do you want me to do?
If you could be so kind as to tell everybody I love them.
They just heard you.
Yeah, they heard me. Yeah, they heard me. Nah, if there's anything left, you let them have it. Let them know.
Want to laugh? Remember I told you I had the problem with the laptop?
Coxsackie, yeah. Yes.
You know how I fixed it?
How? Oh, looks good, yeah.
You got to turn the YouTube off.
Absolutely. I didn't even think of that.
That's what the problem was. Now, I bought the earbuds which are great.
Oh, I didn't even notice you had buds in.
Yeah.
I had an old headset I wanted to wear because my sound. I got to get a good headset to plug into the underneath the mic. But anyway, good. So everything worked good. You got a really clear picture of you, and you got the buds in. That's great.
Yeah, and I got that thing that holds the phone in the car.
Oh, nice. Well, you know what it is, Timmy. We're a very high budget operation here. We're loaded, bro. You know, we just spend. We're gonna listen. We're gonna throw money around here, like Ralph Crandon. If I had it, then you could have it. Remember, we're going straight on forward for the $99,000 question.
Well, it's crazy because I don't know electronics that good. I read the whole
Thank you,
box.
Maureen, for staying so long.
You know, like with the earbuds, I only had one pair before, and I was eating a hero at work, and I put them down on the end of the paper, and then I just wrapped the paper up and threw them out with the crumbs.
I gotta get good earbuds. I do. I gotta get earbuds.
I told you.
Anyway, I just want to say good night to everybody. Everybody in the house, everybody that came in.
Thank
Nick,
you, everybody. Thank
yeah,
you.
you guys are the best, man. No doubt.
I had a
Everybody.
lot of fun. Thank you, Greg.
There's so many to mention. There's so many people to mention. We love you all. I love you all. We speak. We all do. Craig, I'm working on my emoji use. Yeah, I'm still working on how to spell my name. Don't worry about it, Baywatcher. We're all right. Thank you all. I hope you've had some relaxation, enjoyment, whatever it is. Get away from whatever it is and enjoy. And we look to give you a lot more coming up. All right, and we're gonna do that. Everybody have a great weekend. Be safe. God bless. Take care. Keep your head on a swivel. Pay attention for all the maniacs out there. And I'll leave you with this: nothing good happens after midnight. All right. Love you guys. Be well. That's right, Tommy. I can never just walk out the door. I'm still hugging and kissing everybody. Yep, absolutely. Like at the wedding. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Timmy, I'll talk to you on the way home.
All right, pal.
You keep me safe when I'm on the way home. I make sure nobody attacks me. I'm talking to you. This way I can scream into the phone. Ah!